today, Lori Vallow Daybell's murder conspiracy trial goes into day number 3.
It's a case that keeps drawing national attention. Vallow Daybell is accused of conspiring with her brother, Alex Cox, to kill her 4th husband, Charles Vallow, for insurance money. Alex shot and killed Charles in Chandler in 2019. He claimed it was self-defense and wasn't charged. He later died of natural causes. This happened just weeks before Lori and her kids, Tyle and JJ, moved from Chandler to Idaho. Eventually, other family members reported the kids missing after not hearing from them. And sadly, the remains were found on Lori's new husband, Chad Daybell's property. Both Lori and Chad are already facing life in prison for their children's deaths. Now, here in Arizona, prosecutors are still in the early phases of the trial. They're trying to prove Lori's ex-husband's death was planned rather than self-defense, as she claims.
Yesterday's testimony centered around where Charles Vallow was when Lori's brother shot and killed him. David joining us live with more on what's expected as this trial moves on. David.
Scott, Tess, good morning. And for day 3 of this trial, Lori Vallow Daybell is expected to cross-examine one of the state's most important witnesses when it comes to hard evidence and the placement of where Charles Vallow was when that killing happened. But we want to bring in Josh Kolsrud now, who's been practicing law for 18 years. Josh, good morning. Thank you for joining us. Looking at this case, when is the last time we've seen a case of this magnitude, international interest in a story right here at Maricopa County?
Well, the last time that we saw a case like this in Maricopa County was the Jody Arias case back in 2013. Now, this case is very popular, obviously, with the public. It's sensationalized by the media. It involves multiple homicides across state boundaries. It involves a doomsday cult. It also involves a defendant who is representing herself, much similar to Ted Bundy back in the 1970s. You know, there's an old saying with lawyers, a person who represents themselves has a fool for a client. And so many of us watching this are kind of looking at the situation like this is just being sensationalized by the defendant because she has nothing to lose. She's already facing life in prison without the possibility of parole. But I will tell you that she's actually doing a fairly good job. She is very prepared. She's polished. I can tell that she's been practicing her questions. And, you know, honestly, I've seen other lawyers do worse than her in the courtroom.
Sounds like you're a bit impressed from what you've seen in just a couple days from the trial.
Yeah, I have been impressed with her. Everything from her opening statement to her cross-examination questions, she's very prepared. And I think that regardless of the information she tries to elicit on cross-examination, the jurors are going to see an attractive woman who is very smart, she's meticulous, and she may be sympathetic. You know, the fact that she's representing herself is a wild card in this case. That, you know, we'll see how effective it is once the jury makes their verdict.
Well, the jury is not supposed to know anything about her, anything about her cases, but we know just how popular and famous these stories have been. So how important is it for those jurors to be, I guess, not sequestered, but not know what's going on? And how is that a challenge for the courts?
Oh, it's extremely important. I'll tell you why. If the jury finds out about the other trials that already took place in Idaho, it would be unfairly prejudicial to Lori Vallow. And there was a situation yesterday when Lori Vallow asked one of the witnesses what he had reviewed before preparing for court. And the witness said that he reviewed his testimony in the Idaho case. And I was wondering, did the jury hear that? Are they going to ask themselves, you know, what is the Idaho case and what happened? And hopefully they don't investigate it, because if they find out that Lori Vallow was already convicted of murder in Idaho under similarly situated circumstances, it's really going to prejudice the jury against her.
Last question, Josh. Pretty important day for Lori Vallow Daybell as she's set to cross-examine the state's witness, a reconstructionist expert who says that Charles Vallow was on the ground, it appears, when he was shot by Alex Cox.
The reason why this is important is because, and potentially devastating, the evidence shows that the second bullet went through the victim out of his back and into the ground, meaning that he was lying flat on his back when he was shot in the abdomen the second time. That means, if it's true, that there is not a self-defense claim. If there's not a self-defense claim, Lori Vallow's defense dissolves and there's no other verdict except for guilty.
Okay, Josh, and we're going to go over that 911 call we were discussing off camera during the 7 o'clock hour. Trial picks back up here at 10:30. But again, stick with us next hour, Scott and Tess, as we're going to explore more of this case.
Thank you, and thanks to Josh. Thank you.
And the trial is expected to last 6 weeks. You can watch it from wherever you are because we are streaming it through our news app, website, as well as YouTube, starting at 10:50 every morning. Session is in court. Now, just note the trial is on a 30-minute delay because of a court order.